The reason is because in the bracha of Hadlakat Nerot, there are 8 words. And the 8 words, according to the Arizal, correspond to each one of the 8 midot of the 13 midot of Hashem, but the first 8. And when you get to the number 8, you get to the midah called Notzer Chesed. And Notzer Chesed is called Mazala Ila'ah, the higher mazal. And then there's the and then all of the 13 are included in this one. And then there's the 13th mazal called Vinake, the last one. And that also includes all the 13, and that's called Mazalat Tat'at, the lower mazal. Nice. And these are the biggest of the 13 mazalot that are inclusive. And this is a place also where we cause a unification between the two. The Notzer Chesed is Chesed, as we say many times, is numerical value of 72, which is Yud Ke Vav Ke written out with Yuds, right? Yudin is Ab, Shem Ab, that's Chesed. And La'alafim has the gematria, Vinake is the last midah, the 13th midah, has the numerical value of Aleph Ke Yud Ke Shem Kuf Nun Aleph, that we were speaking, Shem Kuf Samech Aleph, that we mentioned when we were speaking about the mikvah. That's Aleph Ke Yud Ke, which is done with Yudi. And when you combine the two, right, you make a unification, Yud and Aleph, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Yud, etc. So you combine the two, the numerical value is Regel. It's 233. 233. And the Arizal brings this gematria many times in the Kavanot in order to prove to us that Chanukah is also one of the regalim, even though it's not in the Torah. It's not one of the 3 regalim. But because of these 2 names that are lighting up, that are being revealed on Chanukah, that's why it's also called a regel. And these 2 names are tremendously significant because according to the Zohar, they are the source of all of the shefa, all of the abundance that comes down to this world, especially the abundance of being able, the blessing of having children, the blessing of parnasa, and the blessing of health and longevity, which is ban chayo mizone. The Zohar says it's not talui in zechut, it's not talui in your merits, it's dependent on ability of connecting to this place called mazal. Mazala Ila'ah. And on this day, on the 13th day, so each one of the 8 days of Hanukkah, another one of this 13 mitzvot light up. On the 8th day, the 8th mitzvah lights up, including everything else until the 13th, including all the 8, the 9, the 10, 11, 12, and 13. So now, when you look at the aliyah of the 3rd aliyah that we read today, it was very long, you see that it speaks about the korbanot of the Nesiim, right? That they brought for the, the Chanukah of the Mizbeach, the inauguration of the Mizbeach, the preparation of the Mizbeach, and we have the korban of the 8th Nasi, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. And then after that, you have a few psukim about the menorah, that was the mitzvah that was given to Aaron. So that's the mitzvah that includes all of the above. And all of this lights up and is revealed on this holy day of Vizot Chanukah. And when this is lit up, because this is the midot of Rachamim, of the 13 midot of Rachamim, it's when Hashem has unlimited and unconditional compassion and love and kindness. And that's the meaning of what Rabbi Yisrael Mirozhiner explained, that even a simple Jew can achieve on this day what the big tzaddik can achieve on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because this is a day of unconditional and unlimited love and compassion and kindness of Hashem. So whereas on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, it's more based on a person's level, on his merits, on today, it's unconditional. That's the tremendous light of this holy day of Vizot Chanukah. Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Okay, after that introduction, says Rabbi Nachman, Ot Bet, V'zeh kli zayin tzarich lekabel al yidei bechinat Yosef. This weapon, this holy spiritual weapon, in order to fight the spiritual holy war of turning the world into a revelation of Hashem's unity, Hashem Echad, how do you receive that weapon, the weapon of Mashiach, the weapon that is drawn forth from the nostrils, right? The spirit, the wind of the nostrils, the Ruach de Pardaska, as Rabbi Nachman brought from the Sifra Ditzniuta. How do you receive that? You receive it from the aspect of Yosef. Hainu Shmirat Brit, that's the aspect of guarding the Brit. As it says in the Pasuk, Chagocha Becha Ayarech. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. That means that you should gird your sword upon your thigh. So the sword, as we said, we saw in the pasuk regarding Yaakov Avinu when he speaks about his sword. The unclos translate the sword as my prayer. So we see the sword is the prayer. And gird your sword on your thigh. The thigh is a reference to the brit, which is connected to the thigh. It's also in the Netzach Hod Yisod, part of the person's body. And so gird your sword on your thigh, meaning that if you want to gird your sword, if you want to have the sword, how do you receive the sword, which is the prayer? You receive it through a perfected, rectified thigh. As it also says in Tehillim, from your offspring I will set upon your throne. So זה בחינת משיח, בחינת תפילה. אם ישמרו בניך בריתי. So it says in the pasuk that from your offspring, which is also a reference of, this is the reference of having children. Ashit lechisei lach, I will sit upon your throne, which is the Mashiach who has to sit on the throne. Okay, he is the anointed one and he's the king and he sits on the throne. But where does he come? Where does he come from? The aspect of Mashiach, he comes from mipri bitnecha, from your offspring, which is the tikkun of the brit. So says Rabbi Nachman, this refers to Zeh Bechinat Mashiach, Bechinat Tfilah. Mashiach is the aspect of Tfilah as we saw at the beginning. If your children will guard the brit. That's the continuation of the pasuk. From your offspring I will set upon the throne, if your children will guard the brit. So how do you receive this aspect of Mashiach, or the weapon of Mashiach, the prayer, which is the aspect of Mashiach as we see in many places? Because his weapon is also his life source, as Rabbi Nachman said here. It's his life source. So how do you receive that? If your children will guard the brit, which is the aspect of Yosef. Yosef who guarded the brit, he received and achieved the rights of the firstborn. And the rights of the firstborn is the avodah of tefillah, which is the work of rectifying the heart, right? The work of bringing a person's heart, person's midot, to complete tikkun, rectification and alignment with the consciousness of Einon Milvado. We said that the prayer is this aspect of the double portion, the rights of the firstborn. The tefillah has also double portion. It has two double rights, two aspects. It's like a two-sided sword, as we'll see. Why? The prayer has also the praising Hashem and also asking for your request. So it has these two sides to it. It's very, very interesting because it's extremely important to keep in mind that a prayer needs to have both of these aspects. And it doesn't mean not necessarily that I pray about one thing and I thank Hashem about a completely different thing, which is also important, which is also good. And it's also important that in every prayer, you also include either before or after the prayer, or also before and also after the prayer, you include gratitude to Hashem for everything that He has given you. But also, it also means that a person can and should, and this is brought down in many Sfarim, thank Hashem for that exact thing that you prayed Hashem for. If you prayed Hashem right now for Parnasa, or for your business to be Matzliach, right? So after praying Hashem to Hashem for that, person needs to know, and this is also something I posted, Rav Yosef, person needs to know that it's more effective for the manifestation of your prayer, for you to receive that salvation. It's more effective, more than the actual prayer itself. The most important aspect of the prayer is an absolute certainty, a complete trust that your prayer has been accepted. And if a person prays and has that feeling when he's praying, the Rebbe of Kormarna says that a person needs to believe that in each one of us there's a spark of tzaddik. There is a tzaddik within each one of us. And as we know, the rule is, and the pasuk tells us, tzaddik gozer ve'akadosh baruch hu mekayem. That the tzaddik, when he decrees, Hashem fulfills. That's the power that the tzaddik has. So says the Rebbe of Komarna, if each one of us has an aspect of tzaddik within us, that means each one of us possess this power of being able to decree, and Hashem fulfills. So he says that when you pray, you need to awaken that aspect within you, and you have to believe that because of that aspect within me, whatever I'm praying, as I'm praying it, I am decreeing and Hashem is fulfilling. And it is so. It is done. It is done.
The quantum certainty. The quantum.
100%. Right? Yes. Right. And so this is all in our Sfarm, right? We don't have to wait for the quantum. We have this for hundreds of thousands of years. This is all. This is Rabbi Komarna 250 years ago. This is all Zohar and Baal Shem Tov. So this is the most important aspect that a person needs for the prayer to be manifested, for a person to receive the Yeshua, is the absolute certainty that the tefillah is answered and done and is received. Huh?
Right. It's already happened.
Yeah, it's just the opposite of what most people, what their approach is to affirmations. Most people's approach to affirmations is that if I say I am rich or I'm happy, I'm this and that, enough times, so then I will be that way. But it's not true, because a person needs to affirm on two levels. He needs to affirm in the thoughts, right? You saw in elevation, you saw the machshava midos, right? The connection between the machshava and the midos. So a person needs to have the affirmation in alignment with the thoughts and the midos. If a person says I'm rich for hundreds of years, for his whole life, he says I'm rich, but every time he says he's rich, he has a feeling inside that says I'm not rich. What is this waste of time what are you doing here? So then that's not going to do anything. A person needs to have that alignment with thoughts, to say in your thinking and in your feeling, I am rich, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I'm successful, I have all the blessings and all the blessings I can ever imagine. I have energy, I have strength. All of that, to feel it in your heart. So that's the important thing in prayer. When a person prays, it's not just an affirmation of please Hashem, give me this, and then in the heart, it's all closed off. Oh, I don't deserve this. Oh, I've sinned, and who knows if Hashem is going to give this, chas v'shalom. All of these different doubts are just awakened even more if sometimes a person prays and these doubts are awakened even more. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. What helps for the prayer to be answered is if the prayer is in the mind, in the thinking, in the mashava, and in the heart, an alignment of absolute certainty that I'm saying, I'm requesting, and the Shem is fulfilling. And it is so, it's done. Now, one of the most effective ways for a person to start shifting the heart in that direction, in that alignment, in that feeling, is gratitude. And gratitude, thankfulness, not necessarily for something else, even though that also helps for this, something different, meaning I'm asking Hashem for help in the business, but I'm thanking Hashem for the fact that I have health. Let's say I have energy, I'm feeling good, That also helps because you're shifting your heart in a level of positive emotions. But even more so, it's brought down, it's from a person can and should even thank Hashem already now for what it is that you requested, with absolute certainty that it is so. But not just think from the mouth out, because then it's just like the affirmations where it's just in the thinking and in the heart. It's to bring your heart in that feeling of appreciation and gratitude from absolute certainty, a complete visualization and experiencing in great detail, already having that Yeshua manifested.
Sure.
So this is very important to know, that the tefillah has these two sides to the sword. It has requesting, asking what you're asking for, praying what you're praying for, and also praising Hashem. Praising Hashem is not just thanking Hashem, as we just spoke right now. It's also praising Hashem for His greatness, for His strength, for His power, His sovereignty, and His control over everything that is, and His unconditional love, unconditional compassion, and goodness to all of His creations, and and specifically to me because he loves me. He pumps my heart every moment. He gives me life. And look at all the times that's also praising Hashem. You're praising Hashem for all of that. And that's bitachon. That's being certain that He'll definitely is going to help me now in this situation as well. And this is the aspect of the double-edged sword in their hand, right? Because we said the sword is the prayer, and the prayer has all these two sides to it. So that's a double-edged sword. Why is it called two mouths? So the double-edged in Hebrew, in the pasuk, is referred to as pifiyot, two mouths. It has two. The sword has two mouths. He says, why is it called two piyot? So because in the Bechor, when you speak about the firstborn rights, he has double portion, and his double portion is referred to as pishnaim. Pishnaim. He has two portions, double portions. So the tefillah, the sword that has two mouths, which is also a word, pifiyot, pishnaim, in reference to the firstborn that has the double rights, is a reference to is teaching us that the prayer has this double rights of the firstborn, and it's an aspect of a firstborn which has the double rights, just like Yosef, right? Venitan me'Reuven, this firstborn rights, the double rights, were taken from Reuven. The double portion was taken from Reuven. Because on some level he defiled his father's bed when he took the bed of Bilhah out of the room, out of the tent of Yaakov, and instead he put his mother Leah's bed over there. He defiled in that way. He defiled the honor, the respect of his father's bed. So through that he lost the firstborn rights. What does it mean that he defiled his father's bed? It sounds like it's an aspect of the Gamma Brit. It's a defilement of the Brit, right? Because he disrespected something that is connected to the unification of his father and his father's wife, Bilhah at that time, right? So that's an aspect of defiling the Brit. And that's why, since the firstborn rights is something that you receive based on the rectified Brit, on the level of a tikkun a Brit, and here he defiled that on some level. Therefore, at that point, he lost their firstborn rights, and they were given over to Yosef instead, right? Because it's dependent on guarding the Brit. And here on the side, there's a comment, very interesting comment here, a footnote from Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Natan brings this. Since Yosef HaTzadik merited this aspect of prayer, which is the aspect of through the praise I will avert any anger. But that from that pasuk, Rabbi Nachman says that echtom is a word that also means nose. It means the nose, and so we see that prayer is an aspect of nose, which is the place of source for the weapon of Mashiach, as we saw, the ruach, the spirit of Mashiach, the life force of Mashiach is drawn from the nostrils, the nose, which is, as we see here, the prayer. Right? It's the prayer is the aspect of this spirit, this life force that is drawn from the nostril. That's why Yosef is called Ben Porat Yosef, meaning meaning Ben Porat Yosef, meaning that he is the son. What does Porat mean? Let me just take out the Chumash just to make sure. Rashi says it means ben chen, meaning the son of grace. He's a graceful son. That's what Ben Porat Yosef means. And how do you get grace from the word Porat? So he brings, he says the source of this word Porat is Aramaic. As it says in the Gemara, in the end of Baba Metzia, Apirion namtiye le Rabbi Shimon. What does that mean? Apirion. So this is the word that he's referencing in Aramaic. Apirion. Sounds like Porat. That's where Porat comes from. Apirion namtiye le Rabbi Shimon. It means Rabbi Shimon, may Rabbi Shimon receive grace from us. Okay? So that's that. So we see that Apirion or Porat means grace. Ben Porat means the son of grace. And what's the continuation of the pasuk? Ben Porat ale ayin, meaning, says Rashi, Chino natui ala ayin haroeh oto. His grace is drawn upon anyone's eye, any eye that sees him. They see the grace. Yosef's grace is drawn upon them just by, as soon as we see him, we see this tremendous grace, this tremendous chen. Okay, so Rabbi Nachman says here that this word Ben Porat, the word Porat has the numerical value of 686. It's actually, if you turn around the letters of Porat, these letters are the number. Tarpu, right? Take the word Porat, you unscramble it, you scramble it around, and it comes out to Tarpu, which is exactly 686. What's the significance of this number? This number is the numerical value of the seven names that we speak about all the time. The four ways of writing Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Ab, Sag,
Ma, Ben. Yeah.
Right? And then the three names that are the three ways of writing Aleph Kei Yud Kei.
Right. So Kana and so on.
So these are all the seven names, are the numerical value of 686. Okay? And so says Rabbi Nachman that why is he called Ben Porat? Why is he called the son of grace? What does it mean? What's this grace? It's these seven names that are drawn upon him, and these seven names are really his life force that are drawn from the nostril. That's the life force of Mashiach. How do I know this? What's my proof? Says Rabbi Nachman. Because Fardaska, which is the nose, right? The nose where this spirit, this life force is drawn from, Fardaska also has the same numerical value as 686.
When is he
fascinating, huh?
When is he referred to in that way?
When is who referred to in that way?
When
is Yosef?
Yeah.
When Yaakov blesses Yosef at the end of his life,
okay.
Right at the end of Bereshit.
Got it.
When he blesses each one of his sons, he blesses Yosef and he says, Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat Ale Ayin, Benot Saada Ale Shur. That the maidens of Egypt would walk on the walls in order to catch a glimpse of Yosef, because he was so graceful. Says Rabbi Nachman, so now you have this cherev, you have this weapon, which is the weapon of Mashiach, which is prayer, the double-edged sword. You receive it from your level of tikkun habrit, from your level of rectifying guarding the brit. And we spoke about this last time. We spoke about how that's on three levels. It's guarding a person's eyes, guarding the person's mouth from improper speaking, lashon hara, sheker, flattery, all of these different ways of words, speech that is inappropriate or improper or just useless. Useless speech is also a problem. And anytime a person it could learn Torah and it doesn't learn Torah is also a pagam. On some level, it's a pagam of brit, because these are all connected. It's 3 points in the body that are connected to this brit: the eyes, the mouth, what a person says, what a person speaks, and the actual brit. So, based on a person's level of being rectified, being fixed, being metukan, and the brit, that's how a person will receive this weapon of the prayer. And once you have the weapon, you also have to know how to use it. You have to know how to hit the aim and hit the right the target exactly right in the middle. One who is worthy of this weapon, of this holy sword, he has to know how to use it, how to battle with it. He should not move it too much to the right or too much to the left. He needs to be able to strike the target, like even if it's like a hair, right? The width, a hair's breadth. The target is even a hair's breadth. He needs to be able to hit that right in the middle, and not even a hair's breadth to the right, not even a hair's breadth to the left. This is exactly on target. How does a person have this perfect aim and this ability to use the weapon in the perfect way, in the right way? It's through the aspect of justice. And justice comes from learning halachot is one way. Rabbi Nachman is going to say tzedakah, giving charity. But one way of strengthening this aspect of justice within ourselves is through learning halachot every day, practical halacha. But we'll see later. So says Rabbi Nachman, through the aspect of justice, ki mishpatu amudad emtzaita, because justice is the center pillar. I know what does it mean, the center pillar? It's right in the middle. It's the aspect of emet, of truth, right? And emet is also a way of saying when a person is hitting the target right on point, it's an aspect of truth, right? He didn't falsify the target by going to the right or to the left. He was absolutely true to the target. It strikes with the weapon in the precise point. He doesn't incline it to the right or to the left. He's right in the middle, in the right point. So where do you see in prayer that a person is praying with mishpat? We see this aspect in the pasuk in Tehillim that he orders his affairs with justice, but his affairs is referred to with the word devarav, his words. Okay, so that means that his words of his prayer, he's ordering them with justice, meaning that his prayer is that's the aspect of mishpat, the aspect of justice in the prayer being prayed in a just and an exact way. That's where you see this aspect of using the weapon in the right way, the weapon of Mashiach. And because for this reason, Yosef received the firstborn rights specifically from Yaakov. As we said, the firstborn rights is the prayer, and the prayer you need the aspect of justice in order to use it properly, and the aspect of justice is Yaakov, right? Yaakov is the truth, it's the justice, and that's why Yosef had to receive this weapon from Yaakov, because that's the power to be able to use it is received from Yaakov. As it says, Yaakov tells Yosef, I have given you, and the end of the pasuk is, I give you an extra portion more than your brothers. So that's the pasuk where it says that Yaakov gave Yosef the firstborn rights. And Rabbi Nachman says that, look at the pasuk, Yaakov is saying, I have given you the firstborn rights, meaning that the firstborn rights have been given over to Yosef from Yaakov's aspect, from the aspect of justice. The prayers received from the aspect of justice. That's how you're able to use it. Ani daika, specifically me, shu bechinat mishpat, that I am the aspect of mishpat, justice. Vezeu ki chok liYisrael hu, and this is also the meaning of the pasuk. That it is a chok for Yisrael. A chok means it means like a law. A chok means a law.
Decree, right? Like a decree.
A decree. It also means an inscription, something that's inscribed. But it also means brit. It also means the brit. So Rabbi Nachman is going to show us the connection between these. He says, Ki chok Yisrael hu bechinat brit. Okay, chok also is an aspect of brit, as it says, and it brings a proof. Moshkatuv chok b'she'ero sam. A chok was placed on his flesh. So that's in the inscription that is placed in the flesh. Okay, so that's the brit milah. Mishpat lelohei Yaakov. The continuation of that pasuk is Chok Yisrael Sam. The chok was placed in the flesh, a mishpat or justice for the God of Yaakov. So what does that mean? What do we learn from that pasuk? Hainu shetzarich Yosef lekabel zot acherav mibchinat mishpat. It means that Yosef, which is the aspect of brit, needs to receive this sword from the aspect of mishpat. Why is that? In order that he should be able to organize and order his words of his prayer exactly, perfectly, in the right, in the true way. His words should be true to the target. And this is the meaning of the pasuk in Tehillim. Hashem, please give your mishpat, your justice, to the king. Who's the king? The king is referring to Mashiach. Shemashiach yikabel mibchinat mishpat. That Mashiach will receive from mishpat. So everyone knows that when a person prays, there is a very, very big importance to praying truthfully. A person not just should say the words of truth, but also they should speak truthfully. Those words that they should say truthfully, from a sincere, authentic, congruently from the heart, right? The absolute truth. Rabbi Nachman speaks about this, finding the absolute truth in your heart in this moment and speaking from that truth. And so that's the aspect of mishpat, and that is how a person prays effectively. It's when a person prays truthfully. And that is received from Yaakov, and next time we'll see how does a person receive this from Yaakov.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day and a happy Hanukkah. There's a little bit longer left to this holy day that we can pray, and the prayers on this day are significantly achieved and accepted, especially if we strengthen ourselves with that emunah, with that absolute certainty. So we should have real salvation, real Yeshua, and everything physical and spiritual, Bezrat Hashem. And you and I, Rav Yosef, will have to have a chat sometime, Bezrat Hashem.